Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Bensday with Batgirl and Ben. And today is January 23rd already. Ben, what's going on? Almost a whole month of the year is gone, and, well, there's not a new ship yet.
Well, there's new ships in the works.
How soon do we have to wait until we could spend money on a brand new ship? Something we haven't seen.
It's not going to be in January, I'll tell you that.
Okay. But definitely in February.
I can say definitely.
Okay. People have asked me that question, and I'm like, really? Do you really want them to put out another ship this close to paying off credit card bills for Christmas? That would not be.
Is anybody that close in January?
Yeah, right? That would be amazing. So how's your week been? Because I was...
It's Monday.
It's Monday? Do you like that song? I don't know why I don't like Mondays.
I didn't know that song.
Tell me why I don't like Mondays? I don't know. It's something weird.
It's like a Garfield song?
I have no idea who sings it. Someone's going to tell me it, and it's going to be like, oh, that's why I don't like it. But, So I know I started school last week, and you guys had a whole bunch of new shows. Well, you had a few new shows on last week, and you did your little bit about the new Pirate Swarm, which you got to go on camera for the first time in a long time.
Oh yeah, I was on ATV last week.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Pirate Swarm seems to be catching interest in a lot of people.
Yeah, people seem to really enjoy it. They like the caterpillar thing we did with the pirate themed caterpillar prize. So it's cool all around.
So do you think they'll throw a caterpillar into Pirate Swarm that we have to blow up?
I can't say for sure, but I suspect very strongly that will happen.
That will happen, okay. Or maybe at the very end of Pirate Swarm, we have to board the caterpillar and then take on the people inside of it in an FPS battle.
I would not rule that out as a possibility.
Oh, wow. So we could be seeing at some point in the future, not tomorrow, not February, but maybe a mixing of Arena Commander with Storm Marine?
Yeah, we'll see that all over as we go forward.
That would be awesome, because there are some people that really love Star Marine, and there's some people that really love Arena Commander, and they just don't cross over to the others. And that would be a way to get groups to play together.
Yeah, we're going to mush them together like a peanut butter cup. That's not how a peanut butter cup works, is it?
Yeah.
But they're going to go together like a peanut butter cup does.
Okay. So when is your next playthrough of one of the Wing Commander series?
We are overdue for Special Operations 1, so I got to find time with Jared and Toast to actually do that, but some weekend coming up.
That would be awesome. Those are always fun to watch when I'm at work. It's good to watch somebody that plays a game that doesn't curse all over the place and shows their frustration in ways that doesn't look like you're being evil.
I just curse inside.
It's inside.
But Special Operations 1 has, I think, arguably the hardest mission in Wing Commander history, so you might see some cursing there.
Is that the stealth mission?
It's the last mission of Special Ops 1 is a fleet strike where you're supposed to torpedo 2 enemy cruisers, and if the cruisers don't get you with their antimatter guns, your wingmen like to plow their torpedoes right through you, so it's frustrating.
So there has to be some kind of tactics you employ to get through that mission.
Yeah, it's half tactics and half luck, because you can do everything right and still screw up.
So do you think we're going to be seeing missions like that in Squadron 42?
I hope not in that exact sense, because that one is genuinely, it's the game breaking is making it harder. It's your wingmen are firing their torpedoes through you and killing you. So hopefully nothing like that in Squadron, but I do hope, and if everything I've seen so far is correct, I do know that we'll have some missions that are going to be more like the Rolari mission in Wing 1, where you will feel very accomplished having completed them.
Okay, well, they're trying to be totally 100% realistic with the AI. Dying due to friendly fire would be just like playing with your friends at times.
Depends on your friends.
I know in quite a few of the Arena Commander games I played with, I was taking more fire from my friends than from the enemy. Accidentally, they said, but I don't know.
Oh, you play with Jared too?
No, Jared doesn't acknowledge my existence unless I'm in front of him. He's too busy for the rest of the world. So there are some questions here over on our Discord channel. The Discord channel is normally linked in the comment section below, folks. So I'm going to go to Black Sunder, who says, when we go to the market or an independent trader in Star Citizen to purchase something, will we be able to see the quantity of the item they have left when you go buy it? It wouldn't make sense for me to need 5 of an item when they might only have 3, but I don't know if it's in stock. That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. That one is not up to me. I mean, my guess is yes, it would say the quantity, but I can't say it for sure.
He went in a different direction with that when I was reading it. I thought he was going to say, so I can tell my friends what a great deal I got and they can go there too, but he was really
I was thinking
all
like
about him.
cornering the market.
Yeah, it's that was it.
No, that'll be a UI decision and a balancing one. So
is that something in Tony's hands?
Probably, but it may not be something Tony's even thought about.
Okay. I guess inventory levels of certain vendors that are NPCs are something that you will be definitely able to see, because we were able to see that in one of the other games. I think it was it Freelancer? When you went to buy things, you saw what they had left?
Yeah. Was that in Freelancer? I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
well, it wasn't Starlancer. Starlancer, you just loaded your ship and went.
No, that was like a Squadron 42 traditional.
Yeah.
Playthrough a campaign.
Okay. Frymaster has a question, and he says, it starts weird. It just says, and friends attack large ship. We just getting board it. When we then all disconnect. 5 hours later, we all log back in together. Are we still on the ship we were attacking, now with its normal crew logged off? Right for us to steal the ship. In other words, what they're saying, that seems like an exploit, right?
Yeah, that's the kind of exploit that, maybe there'll be a patch that does inadvertently happen, but long term, that would be something we would specifically be trying to avoid.
Yeah, that seems like something that people do in other games that are... I remember playing EverQuest years and years ago, and there was a mission where you had to wait for the ancient Cyclops to spawn so you could get one of these rings so you can get your SO boots, whatever SO stood for. Something of the wolf.
Stuff you remember from those games.
Yeah, but it's because you play it so much, it's almost like you actually did these things in real life. I remember sitting in the middle of the desert waiting for this thing to spawn. He would spawn, and right when he spawned, there would be somebody that knew the spawn timer, and they would log in, be right in front of you, and take him out. So that is an exploit. For me, that would be, you're on my ship? Yeah, you should die instantly.
Yeah, that would totally be an exploit. It reminds me of like Ultima Online. You used to log on and log off to steal people's houses and stuff, and just that's what that's one of the great things about having all this time of people actually playing the game before we start the universe. We learned a lot of that stuff early.
So I guess you haven't played Lord British's new game, where that is all the same thing as Ultima Online was.
I have not played Shroud for a year and a half. So.
Yeah, Shroud of the Avatar is actually, it's got a ways to go, just like Star Citizen, but Richard is putting together some, a game that really makes you remember you owe.
Yeah, I've heard it's coming together really well.
Yeah.
Actually sent us a bunch of codes the other day, and I feel bad I haven't tried one out yet.
It's pretty awesome. You get a Star Citizen helmet inside the game.
They're a good group of guys. I wish them all the best.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They are. I like it, but, there's just no spaceships to fly. And,
Knowing Richard, that might still change.
Being that, of all the game developers I know, he's the only one that's been in space.
Yeah. And if you ever played like the original Ultima, there was a space combat element to it.
Oh, wow.
Totally Ultima 1, a big part of the game was you had to get enough money to buy a space shuttle and then launch. Hello, cat.
Back cat,
Aww.
Sophie. Oh God! How much of that space stuff do you think has to do with his dad being a world famous astronaut?
I would not presume to psychoanalyze Richard Garriott, but
I love Richard, amazing man. All right, so let's go to Dean Ma 5. Hi, Batgirl and Ben. I accidentally. Okay, so I have the medical pod bay and landing bay modules for the MISC Endeavor from 2016 anniversary sale with 48-month insurance. Will there ever be a chance to pick those modules up with LTI? I ask because I tried to make the purchase with real money to have LTI, so never to run the risk of losing it.
you can probably answer this one.
No.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
it's not gonna matter as much as people make you think it does. LTI is
Yeah.
awesome to have, but it's not a critical piece of the game.
Yeah, you're not going to lose your. It would be extremely difficult for you to lose your science pods just to make sure they're insured in the game.
But
Yeah, we only offer LTI at the very first concept sale for something.
Yeah.
So we did it when the Endeavor
Or some
first.
kind of major, exciting one-time sale that you may or may not have in the future that can happen or may not happen. But it's been said that you are always going to be told what items are insured and what items aren't before you leave,
Yeah.
so you have opportunity to insure them. So unlike everything else in your life, just don't click accept without reading.
Yeah, I mean the insurance system. It's never going to be a way we're using to trick you or separate you from your ship or anything like that. It's just part of the world.
Yeah, and do you think there'll be other modules added for ships like that and for like the Retaliator and other ships that we are able to buy modules for?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a money enough and time thing, so we will get back to them eventually. And that's why we kind of plan some of these platforms the way we have. So we say, okay, we have these 5 modules now, and then in 3 years, if we want to build another one, we don't have to sell an entirely new ship. People can swap out whatever they want. So it eases the process for everybody.
Okay. So we have quite a number of ships that are coming our way over the next year that we've all paid for, and new ones that are also going to be introduced to us. But there's still that one sitting out there that was part of that wonderful series that you guys did, The Next Great Starship. Are there any changes to that ship or anything in the pipeline that you guys could share with us now that you're starting to become more transparent with the design processes of these ships?
Get another look when we. I mean, it's going to be treated the same as the Orion, the Carrack, the Venom Merchant, and the Endeavor. Any of the ships that we'll have a team assigned to them to finish them off. So it'll. I mean, my guess is it will be altered significantly once we have designers who actually take out into space and see how it fights and how it fits in with everything else in the real world. But also too early to say for sure what any of that means.
It also has to be upgraded for all the Item 2.0 stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is probably essentially a ground-up rebuild for the model at this point. But that's the process, and people always think of it. Oh, you're losing work. Like, no, it's you don't start with the current Hornet. You need to go through all the other Hornets until you get there.
Yeah, I get people still look at the game as it being out of alpha. It's still an alpha, so there are things that are going to be delivered to us and changed multiple times, whether they be ships, systems, or even planets and space stations we go to.
Yeah, it's super iterative, and that's as intended.
All right, so future space stations, are they going to be as confined as Port Olisar is, or are they going to have much different and more diverse sections throughout them?
It's going to depend on the space station, and you'll see some more of that in 3.0. I know they're working on all sorts of cool things right now that I'm not supposed to talk about.
Okay. I'd like to see them do, like right now you can go from one set of landing pads to another at Port Olisar, but every one of them is exactly the same. I'd like to see like a Saba outlet in one and something totally different in another one, so it forces you to go between the different ones.
Yeah, I think one of the things you find with the stuff they've put in the game right now is it's all very, here's all the stuff you could possibly need at this point. That will change once you build out the universe. You you may have to fly to another point to get your gun or your ammo or your missile, or it will spread out. So that a lot of the installations we built right now are kind of test cases. Can you do everything you need to do here? It's sort of like Privateer.
Yeah.
If you go to the first system in Privateer Troy, every base has almost everything, and then you go out in the universe like, oh, it's not actually like that.
Yeah. It seems like every space station I go to in Elite looks exactly the same, and all of a sudden, in an update, they started to change them up. Change colors, change different systems that were available at them, change the design of them. So I'm hoping that's what we see in the future.
That's awesome. I have not played Elite in a while, so I should check that out.
It's tough because I would never knock a game that got me into the genre in the first place. I mean, I love the original Elite and all the ones that we played, even this one, but the universe in that game is so vast, I feel lost.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's good to be lost.
I found myself in the ripe old age of something. All right, so I got Salath Car. It says Phoenix 890 jump. Okay. There are no CCUs in the last sale, and you could not get them only with the anniversary insurance, which is quite generous. He's talking about last sales of like the Phoenix and the 890 jump with LTI. Mm-hmm. Do you think that those are things that were overlooked, not having the CCUs in that last sale, or was it just intended?
No, those are both number limited ships, so we couldn't have a CCU option because the Phoenix and the 890 jump are both ships that we put out in limited numbers. I forget what it was in the last sale,
5K.
But it was like 5K each or something. Yeah. So if you have CCUs, that would be a workaround. People would go, oh, well, they're sold out of this, but I can buy another ship and upgrade to it.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Phoenix, because you sold most of those originally with the CCUs.
Yeah. So we don't offer the CCU on the number limited stuff anymore.
Yeah, that was the last one, I believe. All right, so that takes us through the questions on Discord. So we're going to jump into our starcitizenaa@gmail.com questions and see what we have out here. And it looks like we have... Good morning, Batgirl. I have a question for Ben. In Squadron 42, we choose to help an enemy instead of UE Navy. Would we get to play a Treveran? Okay, so they want to know if you could play Treveran or any other races at that point. I think that was answered already, right?
No, it wouldn't be something in Squadron. I mean, Squadron's a single story. It's following your characters through the military without spoiling too much. On the lines of the original Wing Commander or something like Call of Duty today, where you play through the one narrative. So there would not be a point where you'd switch to being an alien. Someday in the distant future, we would love to have other races for Squadron, or not Squadron, for regular Star Citizen. Nothing at launch, but it's always something we're thinking about.
Yeah, the question that he had was actually two parts. He was like, if we choose to help the other side instead of the Navy, could we get to play a Treveran inside of Star Citizen? That leads you to being able to project something that's not out there yet, whether we have options of being good or bad in the player campaign.
It would not impact Star Citizen today in that way.
Okay. All right. But just being a previous member of the UE Navy is going to give us some kind of credentials in the game itself, right?
Yeah, there's some value to that.
Okay. Do we get like a cool badge to put on our ship so people just go, ooh, let them through?
One of those veteran hats.
Yeah. That's cool.
I don't know what it will be, for sure.
Veteran of Operation Pitchfork.
Exactly.
Yeah, destroyer of Operation Haybale. Iron Haybale, sorry. All right, so hurricane?
It's getting to be storm season, isn't it?
That means it's coming close. Hurricane, tempest, typhoon, something like that?
You hear they're bringing back DuckTales?
DuckTales. You won't talk about anything, Ben. That's not fair.
No, I will say that I can't say. I can't say.
I
Like,
can't say.
I want to tell you I spent the morning doing so bad, but I can't
Oh,
say.
God. You know, you are the director of community, what is it? Community outreach? I don't know.
Engagement.
Yeah.
Community engagement.
So engaged. Come on.
Are you feeling engaged right now?
Oh, I'm feeling very engaged right now, but people want to know, and I've got your ear. What could you give us? Any little tidbit today? Anything new coming out? No. All right. So, I'll throw a Van Duel Veronica question. Okay, that's going to be important because that might take us onto a tangent that would be somewhat different.
Who told you about the Bendu tangent?
Wait. That's right. The Van Duel tangent. Oh, God. Does it intercept circles or something like that? I don't know. All right, so Van Duel Veronica wants to know, a while back, people asked for a Big Benny's machine as Hangar Flare. Can we get that? It seems like such an easy request to fulfill, and it would make a lot of people in the community very happy.
Stay tuned. We're getting closer.
It has to have a video screen on it of you doing the Ben dance.
That I cannot promise, but I think and I think it's with 2.6. The physics now works in it properly, so it is an object that exists in our world now instead of getting there.
It doesn't blow up your ship when you put it in it anymore, right? So
Not every time.
So then, eventually, when they connect the real world with the hangar, we can go to the Kovalex shipping hub, steal it, and put it in our hangar, and it will be there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Once everything's totally persistent and the universe is started, I assume the UE puts down a bounty for people who take vending machines, but you
take vending machines out of Kovalex shipping hub, which is abandoned. Oh, there's something there. There's something we don't know about there. An alien? No. Okay, so...
I'm just going to say nothing next time, and you can just...
I know. But it's almost like you do say nothing when I ask you when questions. It's like when people ask me, when's the Pearphone 8 coming out? And I look at them like, what? There's no such thing.
And I bet you just wish you could say the same time they come out every year.
No, I can't say things like that. I have to say exactly what that voice on your phone says when you ask her when the next one's coming out. Apple's website. No, so yeah. All right, so there are people that, well, a lot of the questions for 2.6, and I'm going to say this right now, folks, last week's episodes of Around the Verse, the Happy Hour, and Bug Smashers were all very informative, and they all have a lot of answers to all of your questions. I think it was there that when Ben was doing the interview, who was the person you interviewed for the Pirate Swarm? It was everybody, right? All over the world?
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I did do the actual interviews, but the parts where that's just movie magic. The parts where I'm a talking head were separate.
Okay. But it was put out there that there is a lot of change coming to that, and that one of the biggest reasons for having something like that was to actually test a lot of the systems and a lot of the AI that's going to be used in the game itself and in Squadron 42 down the road. So get into it and get your feedback coming into CIG.
Yeah, and Aaron Roberts explains this a lot better than I possibly can, but it's just this idea that we're testing AI. Yeah, what you said, we're testing AI stuff. We're testing chip skinning. We're testing just all sorts of. It's a great test bed because we can throw everything at the player, see how they react, see how the AI. It's good. It seems like a little thing. Oh, it's Vandal Swarm with different ships, but it's actually pretty major. The mission building tech, a lot of the internal tools, it's all sorts of stuff go into making that something we can do.
I will say that the tactics for it are much different than Vandal Swarm. And the weapon loadout that you bring into that game is much different than a weapon loadout you might want to bring into Vandal Swarm. So I think it's much different than Vandal Swarm.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing the other ships, and especially all the wonderfully rendered different paint schemes on them that give me hope that we'll have a much more diverse,
Verse.
much more diverse verse, but very quickly, not down the road. Something that will happen this year.
Yeah, you hear forever. Oh, it's going to be easy to skin stuff. Oh, it's going to be easy to skin stuff, and then you finally get to it. And go, wow, it really is. They can do this in a couple hours. It's great.
All right, so I'm going to ask you my own question because I know that this has to do with Foundry 42, and since Aaron and you are such buddies, you could always just throw a question to him down the road. They talk about the Schumann mining base a lot. Is it something that we'll actually be able to see a tour of before the game comes out, or is it just under lock and key because it is so important to the beginning of that game?
I can't say for sure. We try not to show off too many of the sets for Squadron, even though they can be used in the Persistence universe, just because we don't want to spoil the environment. It's not necessarily that it's the most important thing in the universe that people don't see this mining station, but it just allows us. The hope is to have Squadron have more of an impact. You're seeing something new. So it's more of a minor spoiler than a major one, I think.
I'm looking at it because right now all of what we've been giving is a very... I mean, I know the PU is big, but the areas that we're allowed to be in them are very confined. It's very little. And the Schumann mining base being, what is it, like a kilometer long?
Yeah, it's a big guy.
It seems like there'd be a lot more to do in it, and that would be cool. With that question asked, there's been so much work done on the Idris over the last 2 years, and it seems to be fleshed out rather well and gone through a couple of major updates over the past couple of years. Is this a ship that we're going to see this year?
I can't answer a when question.
Okay.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's time for a renewed tour through it, at least.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, because we see what you do, what CIG does. The Starfarer was amazing. The Caterpillar has blown me away, and I'm getting more and more excited to see what else is coming our way this year. Can you answer at least one question? Are we going to see another big ship this year that hits us?
How big? What's your cutoff for a big ship?
When I say big, it's like the other ships that I've been waiting for. It's like I'm waiting for another pass on the Retaliator and on the Constellation, so I could have my Phoenix.
Oh, a big existing ship. Yeah, yes, absolutely. You'll see some larger existing ships.
But what I'm really waiting for is my Carrack. That's a tough one.
Carrack is. There's work happening. I'm not going to give a schedule at all. I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah. You probably saw in the newsletter last week. They're doing internal work for the Abandoned Merchantman now. So that one I can admit to. So there's some bigger stuff in the works right now.
I think if I know that Chris's presentation at CitizenCon is a presentation. It's not a this is the calendar that we have. It's these are the things we want to put into each one of these updates. But I think Banu Merchantman was one of the ones that was on there earlier, where Mike Carrack was one of the ones on there later.
Yes, I'm trying to picture the schedule right now, but I don't have it. I don't have it at my fingertips. I'm sorry.
All right, and Dragonflies, we're still getting them in 3.0.
Yes.
All right, that's cool because I've got my beautiful Caterpillar, but it's so empty without my Dragonflies to put right there in the front.
Well, go collect a bunch of big Bennings machines.
Oh, you could do that now, can't you? And make my own Stonehenge where? In the middle of space? All right, Ben. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. People can be like, he didn't answer any of your questions. He answered a lot of questions. You got to read between the lines. Yeah. Or just watch the first half of it while I ask you a question.
Yes, it kind of fell apart after that.
So, folks, get the questions in. There'll be a link to the Discord channel down below. If you don't have Discord or don't want to use it, you could always send it to starcitizenaa@gmail.com. Ben, thanks, and I'll see you next week, I hope.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. And with that said, guys, you all be safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right, good. That's a great run through. Now let's do it for real.